Hello, everyone. It's another Bart and Paul Tarot show. And this week, we're going to be talking about a subject we keep on coming back to because it's really interesting. And the subject is Bart.
Aiwass.
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 Aiwaz. Aiwass. Oivas. Aivas. You can spell it umpteen different ways, because Crowley spelt it umpteen different ways, because he needed to make it fit into whatever gematria system he was working with at the time. So it could be 78, that's the first one he came up with. Then he found another way to make it 93.
That was with a V, eh?
Huh?
The first one, he spelled it with a V, and then it came down to...
He did it with a W, he's done it with two S's, he's done it with a Z.
Yeah.
And Aiwass, there's an invocation to Aivas in the Book of Thoth on its own as well, which is actually going through the 5 elements, spirits and the 4 elements, which is interesting because it kind of makes it to do with pyramids and all that kind of stuff. And where was Aiwass heard? It's in the Great Pyramid, wasn't it? Or Bart or something.
It's a bit confusing here because, yeah, he apparently... he appeared in the pyramid, but he actually only spoke to him in the hotel room afterwards. Eh?
Ah, maybe he thought he was bringing some gin or something. Or...
It was his wife who was actually
the
channel. Eh?
Yes, apparently so. So, you know, apart from the fact that it's Aleister Crowley's wedding with Rose Kelly, and they're on the honeymoon, and Egypt was one of the places to go to when you're wealthy at that time. Of course, Crowley had been through all this Golden Dawn stuff, and the big thing is the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx. There's a whole system associated with that. And there's an entire system that revolves around Greenwich Mean Time. So there's Greenwich Mean Time is just down the road from where I live. And that's that point where we have 0 starts from in terms of time. The occult Greenwich Mean Time actually goes through the Great Pyramid, and that's where it starts. And we do it with the princesses around the pole star.
Is Greenwich on the same line as the pyramids?
No. I'm just saying that Greenwich Mean Time is just down the road from where I live, because Brighton is more almost south. It's actually New Haven, I think, just down the road, or Peacehaven. And the Greenwich Mean Time for the occult world is the Great Pyramid, and where it goes.
Crowley actually makes, if you look at the attributions of the Thoth tarot of the princesses, he makes the pyramids the center of the world.
Yeah, because that's the Golden Dawn system. He's making this whole point of that time starts with her. So he's full of all this Golden Dawn stuff with the pyramid, the Sphinx, the aces, and the princesses. That everything starts from the line drawn through the Great Pyramid. So apart from thoughts of his new wife and everything else, Crowley's not going to miss an opportunity, is he? Because in those days, you know, he had money and stuff. It's easy to... £5 or something would give him as much time as he wanted in the pyramid, as much as he liked. And of course, they found that the stelae are revealing number 666, which could be, you know, there's a lot of things, speculation. I mean, there's, you know, we can have a blind religious kind of thing. It's Salima, it's this, it's that, or you can take a more measured view, which is kind of what we do. It's an interesting story that went on. Maybe it was dictated to Crowley. Maybe Crowley wrote it himself. Maybe he made it up. Rose Kelly died fairly young, so there's no other witnesses. This is the thing.
Maybe Rose Kelly is actually the genius, and Crowley.
Yeah, some people think she is.
There's a large community of mainly female Thelemites who believe that Crowley actually stole stole the limelight from his wife. Eh?
Yeah, and you know, and also the fact that he lost the manuscript for quite a few years.
I found it again after a few years.
And then it just magically appeared again. Poof.
And it's full of gematria, which it happens to be one of his, you know, how do you call this in English? Stock parties. One of the things
it's convenient, you know? So it depends on where your point of view is on a lot of things here. I mean, you know, the document Libral with its 3 chapters, Nuit Hadit and Rahog can be seen in lots of ways. And Crowley boasts about his ability to do gematria and puns and puzzles and everything else as well. It's a well-known skill that he had. So there it is. And Aiwass is this praeter-human being. No one seems to know what praeter-human means. But my theory is, Bart, my theory is that by calling him praeter-human, it means that you can't invoke Aiwass.
Yeah.
Because he's human, so therefore he's not a spirit. And if he's a spirit, you could invoke him or evoke him, couldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So yes. Crowley didn't invoke the spirit because it's come from Rose. Maybe you have to do this kind of thing over the Stele of Revealing. That's how it's done. What do you think?
Well, the whole Stele of Revealing story, Stele of Revealing, actually, Ali, how do you say, it makes the story of Rose Kelly being the true medium more credible.
Yeah, but also he's putting it all on. He's saying she's totally innocent. She didn't know anything, but she came up with all these proofs that told him that she got it right to a fantastic degree that no one ever gets in any kind of ritual work or anything else like that. You know, there's always grey areas, and it's black and white. This is what it is. So it's a bit strange.
What was it that I read? That first he was like a bit taking the mickey out of her.
Yeah, well, that's what he says, doesn't he? He didn't take it seriously.
And she really
you silly woman. You know, it's the heat's getting to you.
So that does make it here, praetor. It was a title granted to the government of ancient Rome to a man acting in one of 2 official capacities: commander of an army. I can't see the other.
What's that? Praetor?
Yeah, praetor. What does the word praetor mean? Or as an elected magistrate assigned to discharge various duties. Praetor. So.
Yeah, that doesn't really. If it's a general, then because we've always got Rahog Hewitt for that, haven't we? And Harper Krat, you know, they're
exactly. What was it again? He's the minister of Harper Krat.
Yeah,
it says in the Book of the Law.
Yes. And he's also the messenger, isn't he, as well? But that puts him on the level of Thoth or Tahuti. Anyway, because Thoth or Tahuti is the messenger.
A minister is a member of government. Is there another signification to the word?
I don't know. I'm not at all sure. But I mean, it can mean also that he's the author of the Book of Thoth as well in that case. And he's Egyptian as well. Okay, fine. Aiwass is not, no one claims there's any kind of Egyptian word that is close to Aiwass. Because they'd have said, wouldn't they?
I didn't find any reference.
Or Coptic, which is the early which is what Egyptian became basically. So we found on the internet an interesting discussion on Wikipedia Talk.
Yes,
so this talk is about Aiwass. And it says at the top, this article was nominated for deletion on March the 12th, 2007. The result of the discussion was keep. And it says, this article is within the scope of the Wiki project Thelema, a project which is currently considered to be inactive. Okay, so we're activating it. Activate. Now, the interesting thing is that, and it's something that I've idly considered as well over time, is that there are actually 2 Futhark runes, Futhark, runes.
Yeah, it's a Scandinavian word, eh?
Yes, yes. Norway, Sweden, Iceland, take your pick. It's a proto. There are actually two runes that's basically the sound like Aiwass. Because remember, we're in phonetics here. And there sort of says, it seems there's no etymological connection between Aiwass and the name of the Futhark rune Aiwass, which derives from the Proto-Germanic word for yew, the tree, the yew, which of course is the tree that Yggdrasil hung from for 9 days. And Crowley does talk a little bit about runes in some forms as well. So this tree could be an ash or a yew or an oak. It's a tree. It's not the tree of Kabbalah or anything like that, but it is a tree. So people kind of run around a bit in circles with this thing. Is it a god? Is he an angel? What?
Crowley has given an interesting answer on that.
Okay, go on, go for it.
In Magic Without Tears.
Yes.
Let me look it up. Give me a bit of a. No, this is not that part. This is.
I thought you prepared properly for this.
Is of a different order of being from ourselves. This is
yes.
What no. There is a no. That's not it. But is Aiwass a man, presumably a Persian or Assyrian, and a secret chief, or is he an angel in the sense that Gabriel is an angel? Or is he a being whose existence is altogether beyond this plane, only adopting human appearance and faculties in order to make himself sensible and intelligible?
Well, I mean, of course, angels never had wings in the first place. That was a later thing that was added, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, you know, the angel just means messenger, basically. Yes. You know, they don't have to have flapping wings or anything like that. That's the first thing about all of that. So that, you know, and it's funny, isn't it? Because Crowley stopped talking about secret chiefs sometime in the mid-1920s, probably after his Kefallu period in his life. So, but I mean, the secret chief is very much a Golden Dawn kind of area of talking about things, as well as theosophy. They talk about secret chiefs, don't they, I think, as well. But I mean, the whole Golden Dawn system is supposed to come from secret chiefs.
Blavatsky was of the Theosophic Society.
Well, she invented theosophy, didn't she?
Did she? I don't know.
Yes, she did. Yes. So, you know, but the secret chief stuff, there's a big overlap between subject for talk sometime, Bart, between theosophy and the Golden Dawn. A lot of people in theosophy were also joined the Golden Dawn and all that kind of stuff. So there's a little bit.
I've noticed. I found the Dutch. There's a Dutch website for theosophy.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of free, amazing books online. That are like Arjen Kaplan, the Seferi et Zaira. You find it in Dutch there.
All right. Well, whenever I learn Dutch, I'll look it up.
But I find it handy because, like, if you imagine like Crowley, I mean, in the beginning, Crowley you can't underestimate his knowledge of the English language.
No.
So I don't mind, and the Seferi et Zaira is also such a thing. So I don't mind the Dutch translation every now and then.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think, you know, you correcting Crowley's grammar, you do at your peril, basically. You know, he's one of those, you know, there's people who's educated and his grammar is very good. So we're not going to go down that route.
But anyway. I have to say, let me get it here. I have a Dutch version of this is a Dutch version of Liber Aleph. If there's any Dutch people, I have the original, the English version of Liber Aleph. The translation is crap. It sucks. I swear it's so bad it made me want to stab my eyes out.
Okay. We'll take that as not a recommendation, shall we?
Oh, just buy the English thing and wrestle through it in English. It's
Yeah, well,
good.
the
And you'll
Dutch,
learn a bit of English as
well,
well, on the way.
a lot of the Dutch speak better English than the English, which is not that hard, to be honest with you, half the time.
Well, but hey, you'd be astonished with the French as well.
Yeah.
When you
So,
learn French in school, you learn the basic things that the French in every day never do, never use.
so they also kind of go on about anagrams as well here, but I don't quite really follow the argument they're trying to give here, because
And you're still on about that page.
Tamura, yeah, it's, you know, the Tamura, they call it Timuru. It's not, it's Temura.
Yeah.
Don't know why they've, you know, I mean, it's I mean, I don't know who wrote this bloody stuff. Anyway, but let's get back to the main thrust of this, which is there's no etymological connection between the name Aiwass and the name of the Futhark rune Aiwass, which is you. So I've been doing some research onto Aiwass. Okay, so there's two Aiwasses. There's one, this Ehwaz, which means a horse, or Ehwaz.
Are you on about the runes now?
Yes, we've gone back to the runes. So there's Aiwass and there's Aiwass. Okay, so we'll do Aiwass first. Okay, Aiwass means a horse, and the symbol is basically looks like a capital M. Simple as that.
Aiwass.
It means a horse or horse. And it's all about teamwork, trust between individual entities and sexuality. There's some things here. It's about teamwork and friendship, harmony, teamwork, trust, marriage, loyalty, a friend. And if it goes wrong, disharmony, mistrust, betrayal, nightmares, indecision, and enemy. And then there's an interesting thing here. He talks about, this guy says, it's activating the energies of your inner fetch. Let's check up on fetch. You know, when you throw a stick, you tell the dog, fetch.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually mean that. It's like a double spirit that you have with you, a doppelganger or something like that. So this is the ability to talk with your doppelganger, which fits in, doesn't it, with the subject of Aiwass? You know, was Aiwass Crowley's
higher self,
externalized inner genius?
Excuse me, I'm having a technical problem here.
What's happened?
Yes, you fell away, but you're back now.
Oh, what? Oh, it's okay.
Yes, everything's all right.
So this is there's, you know, questions of who is the boss and control issues come out of all this one as well with Aiwass. We call him Aiwass, which sounds very like Yorkshire. And by gum. So Aiwass is particularly relevant to the energies which bond man and woman together in lawful marriage. So maybe Aiwass appeared to bless the union of Aleister and Rose. The interesting thing, he talks about the fetch again, and this the fetch is the opposite gender to whoever you are. So in Crowley's case, it would have been a woman, but clearly it's not, because he describes him as a man. So, but there again, if it was Rose Kelly's spirit, then it would be a man, wouldn't it?
Yes.
What do you think, Bart? Are you still there?
Yeah. Well, what do I think? Let's because I've already been thinking a lot about this subject, and in the end, listen, it's about the message the man gives. It's not about the man himself. Because if you focus a lot on Crowley, there's plenty of things to be said.
He had a few character defects,
and there's plenty of reasons to find him devious, sneaky, unreliable, selfish. It is.
And they're the nice ones.
Yeah, so being, if you somehow believe in something of Crowley, somebody who doesn't believe immediately has 1,000 arguments to prove you wrong.
Most evil man of the world.
You can say about it.
You know, it's a title given by the Daily Mail. And the thing is, at the same time, the Daily Mail was respectfully referring to Herr Hitler. and looking forward to Herr Hitler running Westminster.
I found this is totally on the side. Well, a couple of years ago or something, I'm on these download sites where you can just legally download random shit. I put in the name, sorry, the random stuff, and I typed in the name Crowley.
Yeah.
And there was this file over a gigabyte big, which is Crowley, over a gigabyte. So I downloaded it, and it's all scans of papers, documents, written documents. And there is one document. Yesterday I was going through it. I have no idea what it is, of course. It's just a scan or a black and white copy of a paper, but it looks like one of them letters from the CIA or something. You know, the documents that, and it has all
redacted,
parts, blurred out that you can't read. It's censored. But it's a document that is on about how Aleister Crowley and Karl Germer, I think, are suspected of Nazi sympathies. It looks like
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of revisionism going on there. So here's the book, The Beast in Berlin, which is all about, it's actually the Weimar Republic when Crowley was there. And the suggestion is that he was spying in the same way that when he went to Russia, he was also spying for MI6 as well. So, you know, occultist spying, never.
And
you can trust an occultist.
But the fact that nobody actually really believes it makes him such a good spy, probably.
Yes, well, that's the whole point, isn't it? That you don't realize that someone's a spy.
He was a fan of John Dee.
Yes, he was. But that was the Golden Dawn thing as well, too. So, you know, I'm a fan of John Dee as well.
And James Bond.
We'll have a talk about him one of these days. So let's get back onto Aiwass.
Aiwass, yeah.
Which means a U. And it looks like a Z, which is kind of like the lightning flash kind of thing that's there.
Yeah, and that's the one you can't put upside down, because normally a rune has meaning upside down. Yeah. But that one is symmetrical. So if you put it upside down, it looks the same.
Yeah. So this is, you know, once you get past this, oh my God, there's no etymology. Well, why should there be? Because no one ever says it goes on about etymology of other spirits. It's, you know, it's a protesting too much. So this chapter here says, Aiwass is a rune that can be used as a magical protector and facilitator. It shows us that in the event of an ending situation, we find the start of a new situation. Well, there we are, the new age, in that one sentence. I rest my case. But I'll carry on. So this is the ball out the yew tree. He also equates that with Kundalini as well. And he also says it's the axis or process of spiritual becoming, upper and lower worlds meeting in Midgard or Earth, and the mysteries of life and death. So there's time and timelessness in going with all of these things, and immortality, movement towards enlightenment, initiation, protection, and then the negative ones, confusion, destruction, dissatisfaction, weakness, and death. It's also about the initiation into the wisdom of the world of the world tree, Yggdrasil. Spiritual development. I'm repeating myself now, aren't I? So, well, you pay your money and you take a choice here, don't you, Bart? Both of them could be candidates.
Is it a coincidence, you think? What do you think?
It's, you know, it could be that subconsciously Crowley in his research read about the runes. Why not? He mentions them in places.
I must have known about them. It wouldn't have been Crowley otherwise. Yeah.
But the fact that he doesn't even go there is always a good sign that you're on the right track with Crowley.
It's true.
So when you avoid talking about the obvious things, then you think, this is what's going on. So you can't prove any of this stuff. Actually, it also says Aiwass can be invoked for communication with the underworld and the dead. So there's
Which
ancestors.
one is that? Is that
So this is a bit like Star Wars, isn't it? Luke, Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father stuff, and all these kind of things, you know. So so for the first one, Ehwaz, it's, you know, the horse, and that can be for the nuptials, shall we say, because it was their wedding thing, which is also now a chemical thing, union of opposites and things, and with this spirit guide who's, if you're a man, it'd be a woman. So if Aiwass was a man, then that would be Rose Kelly's spiritual energies and things. Or we can go with Aiwass, which also is about initiation and levels of time and transformation and the world tree and the spiritual axis that things go through, which is a perfect metaphor for the axis of the North-South Pole and for the Greenwich Mean Time of the occult world, which is where the Great Pyramid is. He was on that juncture, and then he came out with the new Aeon.
He was a prophet.
The prophet, yes.
Yeah, he was a prophet all of a sudden.
Well, we might think we've solved this. Others may not. Anything else, Bart?
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me double check. I still have a few. No, I think not my head. The law is for all, because now.
Yeah, I've got that one.
I didn't really mention it. Huh?
I've got that one. The law is for all.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still haven't actually read it through. Or
Don't blame you.
Looking in it left and right, but I didn't read the whole thing yet. But I've been looking up Aiwass in it. So let me see. Have I found anything interesting? There is a being called Aiwass, an intelligent discarnate, who wrote this book of the law using my ears and hands. This is from the book of the law. Eh? His mind is superior to my own in knowledge and power, for he has dominated me and taught me ever since. Yeah. One of the things that he elaborates on here is that actually he didn't want it.
That's kind of protesting too much, isn't it?
Yes, but still he
Aiwass was a bit more intelligent than Crowley, so he must have been quite intelligent. Yes, but he didn't want to take it on. He was dragged screaming and kicking to this. Believe that one as you will. So he's a reluctant prophet.
And here, Aiwass is then, at this verse 7 states, the minister of Hurpakrat, that is of the savior of the world in the larger sense, and of mine own silent self in the lesser. A minister is one who performs a service, in this case evidently that of revealing. He was the intelligible medium between the babe god, the new Aeon about to be born, and myself. This book of the law is the voice of his mother, his father, and himself, but on his appearing. He assumes the active form twin to Harpocrates, that of Rahorquits. He goes on about it. Why is Aiwass thus spelled, when Aiwass is the natural transliteration of Zain Yod, what? Zain Vav Yod.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, still goes on about it. It's a good source actually.
But the thing is, you see, it's a bit like dreams. If you have a dream that's cosmic, you know, it still pertains to you and it's your dream. It's not anyone else's. You can argue that this is Crowley's vision. It's not anyone else. I mean, I've had sort of cosmic visions, but you think, oh my God, well, this is amazing, seeing the whole universe and everything else. But I'm not going to sort of suddenly produce, say it's been, I had a dictation and I wrote this stuff and this is for the world. It's not, it is personal to the person who sees it.
Yeah, where was it?
This is a Jungian thing more than anything else.
Crowley wrote about that. I think he calls it a Jesus complex. Was it Crowley?
He's talking about the Savior. I mean, he was, you know, he knew the Bible better than anyone because he's a Plymouth Brethren. He's only allowed to read the Bible.
Yeah, but he was on about, I think it's a Jesus complex. How does he call it? I forgot, but it's in one of the books I had to read from for AA, right, where they say do not get confused and mistake that a message for you is a message that meant for the world.
And that applies equally to Crowley's writings on that one. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You know,
but here you have.
But if you're a Thelemite, then this is the word of the prophet and everything else. But you know, it doesn't. You know, it's still an interesting subject, and there's no proof either way.
You can go in the discussion about either the higher self or the holy guardian angel, because the higher self is a part of you.
Yes.
The holy guardian angel is normally supposed to be a separate being.
Well, that's an externalization.
So, but maybe Aiwass was his higher self.
Yeah, then fine. But then that is a personal message to Crowley, you know.
And that would explain why the Book of the Law contains all these things that Crowley was so good at.
Yeah. Playing to his strengths.
But yeah, then again, I'm not such an expert on the subject. How do I know whether a holy guardian angel can tell you things you didn't know before?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? When you find these things, you find out, you know, enlightenment, you find out you're actually where you started from.
And also you put your knowledge in proportion. The more you know, the more you realize you know nothing.
Yeah. That's the other problem with all of this stuff. You know, it's all subjective. But Crowley did write everything down, you know, his diary, and he published the stuff in his diary as well, which is what most people don't do for good reason.
But that's why he will be remembered as well. The man left a huge legacy, which might have gone, a large part of it might have gone lost if it wouldn't have been for him.
Maybe he did have that experience, and you know, I mean, I've had lots of experiences with spirits and beings and stuff. Can't prove it, you know, and I don't need to because no one's asking.
About spiritually, that's the whole thing about being spiritual, and Crowley says that as well.
Yeah, about
being silent. Keep your things.
To know, to dare, to will, and be silent.
No one will understand.
Which is what the pyramid is about, and the Sphinx. You see, but he didn't, did he? He blabbed.
Yeah, that's why he calls himself a prophet. It was his will to spread the message.
So, yeah, but that's do what thou wilt then. He's saying, well, it's not actually me. It wasn't me that pulled the trigger. It was the gun.
It was Aiwass.
Well, we'd love to see what comments and thoughts you have on the subject. So, you know, down below. And if you want to join our tarot groups, the Thoth Tarot Group and the Book of Thoth Tarot Group, and if you want a reading, that'd be a good thing to do. And if you want copies of my book, The Tower of the Makers and Beyond the Celtic Cross, still some copies available. You'll get, you can have them signed and dedicated to yourself or your dearest, even Aiwass if you like. And we'll see you in the next video.